Say what you want about Gil. You don't like his podcast, you don't like him as a person. That's fine. But the one thing you can't say is he didn't raise a real hooper. Because that's exactly what Alijah Arenas, Gil's oldest son, is.
Gil was a basketball assassin, and he was very intentional in making sure Alijah became one too. I mean, Gil had him shooting 400 jumpers before school, and it's already paying off.
Like, I'm watching a video, and this is when he went to go play with KD and them. And he said, man, there was a dude in a blue shirt. Oh my God, I was mopping his ass. Like, I don't even know why he was out there, right? I'm like, you scored a couple buckets? He said, no, every time he guarded me, I gave his ass that work. He was mad, and he ended up leaving. I was like, damn, that's crazy. I looked at the video, it was Naz Reid. I was like, wait a minute, he's a defensive player. He's like, oh, nah, he trash.
Wait, it was so bad that Naz Reid, Minnesota's fan favorite, stormed out the gym? Nah, we really got a Hibachi Jr. on our hands.
That's facts. And think about what that says. We're talking about a 17-year-old going toe-to-toe with NBA veterans and not just holding his own, but embarrassing them. Most kids would just be happy to share the court, but Alijah, he's coming for heads. And honestly, that mindset didn't just come out of nowhere. You can see just how intentional Gil has been in shaping him into a killer. Gil also moved him out of Sierra Canyon, the LA powerhouse that's been churning out NBA prospect after NBA prospect for the last decade. We're talking Marvin Bagley, Amari Bailey, Brandon Boston, Bronny James, the list goes on. But why? Why did Gil move his son out of Sierra Canyon? Simple answer, because he's building a monster. See, it would have been nice for Alijah to stay at Sierra Canyon, surrounded by the best players, training in state-of-the-art gyms, soaking up the spotlight. But here's the thing, that doesn't create the hardened shell it takes to succeed, especially when the name on the back of the jersey has a legacy of its own.
Hooping, getting blown out by 40,
1000%.
dropping 40. He needed him to be on his own. At Chatsworth High, he's not just the number one option. He's the only option, all right? If Alijah isn't scoring 50, they're not winning. That's the kind of pressure that breeds a dog. That's the kind of environment where it's hunt or be hunted. And I mean, again, we talk about being intentional, right? Gil went through that same experience himself. He talks about it all the time. You know, he was with all the private school kids, hooping, getting blown out by 40, dropping 40. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just about putting his son in the best gym, all right? It was putting him out in that fight or flight, that struggle and survive or fail.
And you best believe Gil's going to make sure he comes out like a lion.
We told y'all, man. Gil is making a killer. But it doesn't stop there, because word recently got out that Alijah's reclassifying to finish high school early.
This is crazy, bro. Dude will actually be in college next year. And funny enough, that 2025 class is already loaded with the offspring of past NBA talent. We're talking Kai and Anthony, the Boozer twins. It's like a next-gen NBA draft.
Exactly. Add Alijah to the mix, and you're looking at a class full of kids who grew up watching their pops on YouTube highlights.
And despite being, up until recently, a grade behind these guys, Elijah's already holding his own weight in the rankings, higher than Kyan and Caden Boozer.
Isn't that insane? I mean, you've got the Boozer twins, who we've heard about their progress all their lives. Carlos Boozer was an all-star. Kyan Anthony, Melo's son, stay Melo, and they're all looking up at second-round pick Gilbert Arenas' kid.
And I got a theory on this. What makes the perfect recipe for a future NBA star? An NBA dad that didn't get the most out of his career. That chip on the shoulder gets passed down when you had the skill and will to make it to the highest level, but that extra something was missing to really have the legacy you thought you deserved.
Yeah, bro, and you bring a really, really good point, because, I mean, listen, we can't throw shade at Bronny. He could prove us all wrong. Yeah, but how much more can we really expect out of a 44th, whatever, 50, whatever pick, right? But you take a look at LeBron's kids. Maybe not the best example because Bryce looks like he's hooping, right? You take a look at MJ's kids, right? Very, very solid high school players. I mean, one of them even played, some productive years in college, right? But at the end of the day, I think that's a great point, because when your dad has made it, how much drive do you really have, to do that for yourself? Yeah, it's cool. I want to follow in my dad's footsteps. But when the talent doesn't measure up to the name, what do?
I mean, life on that silver spoon must be good. I can't blame him. I'd be a little bit stuck up too. If you give me Bronny for a daddy, I'm 6'5" without trying, and I could probably dunk in my sleep. But that's not enough to actually make it and stay. Make a name for yourself that's not just the one on the back of your jersey for guys like Gilbert, Bronny, even Kai and Anthony. That's why I think that there's difference though. Like Carmelo, he was all the way already on his way out, getting pushed out the league. It didn't end pretty for our guy, 3 to the head Melo. He's got that chip. Jalen Brunson's dad, a perennial bench player. Rick lived vicariously through his son. I think Gil's got some of that because as good as he was, we remember him as Agent Zero. That man's career was a roller coaster, a 3-year peak. It was a hell of a peak, but them injuries and them guns held that man down more than the defense could.
Yeah, man, and this is the thing, right? If you pull up that 60 that Gil gave Kobe, I mean, you're putting his name in one of the greatest categories, right? So it's only natural that someone like that, who reached the highest of highs and didn't really get the opportunity due to, like you said, whether it's suspension, due to misbehavior or injuries, to sustain that, he would have kept that going if it wasn't for those things, right? There's no question about it, yeah? But there's one thing I'm willing to bet, before we kind of pivot here, right, is I don't think, given what Gil has been through and the way he's brought up Elijah and instilled, at least basketball values in him, I never see him doing what a little MJ Jr. did by taking a unnamed teammate's former wife of 30 years. So, yeah, we throwing shots, man. But
Yeah, but honestly, you could tell Gil, he's going out of his way to make sure his kid is not like that. He'd send him to Lithuania if that's what it takes. But it's tough being the second fiddle. It's tough being the sequel to a classic. It's never going to hit the same.
Yeah, facts, man. And I mean, this is the thing. Elijah, he's got the tools. His pop skill obviously rubbed off on him. Dude's a 5-star recruit. He's a walking bucket, all right? The real question now is, will he follow in his dad's footsteps and end up at Arizona? I mean, this is the thing, right? Elijah's looking like a mini KD as much as he's looking like Gil. He's taller. He has some of the tools that Gil did not have in terms of physical tools, but also the guidance to be locked in from a young age. I mean, having an NBA all-star of Gil Arenas' caliber, an all-NBA guy, yeah, giving you the tricks of the trade that took him years to sculpt, years to define, years to work on against the likes of the Kobe's, the Brons, and the guys that were in the league at the time. Yeah, Elijah's definitely got to step up over his pops.
It's a different league he's walking into. The oversized guard, which is what he is a valued commodity. And that's why you see him 15th in the class he just entered into a week ago. That's why you see him in the top 5 for the 2026 draft projections. But I still have some concerns. The athleticism with him, just plain and simple, doesn't jump off the screen. He's not that quick twitch guy. He's more of a glider from the ilk of a Paul George. So he's going to have to prove it on the next stage.
Right. That works in high school. When you're the best player on the floor every night, in college, everyone's just as skilled, and a lot of them are more athletic. So it's going to take bringing your best every night.
True. And he relies on a lot of jumpers. I mean, he's got a clean stroke, don't get me wrong, but if that's your main weapon, college defenders going to crowd you and figure it out. They're going to force him to put the ball on the floor and see if he can finish at the rim.
Yep. I mean, can he finish over length? We've seen it in high school. Yeah, he could do it against the babies, right? But what about some guys his own size? And what about defense? He's got good instincts, but he's not locking up the top-tier athletes yet. If he doesn't bulk up or add some explosiveness, he could be a liability at the next level on that end.
Yeah, so I guess what we're saying is we know the skill is there, the jumper, the IQ, the work ethic, everything you need. But when the pace picks up and the game gets more physical, that's when we're really going to find out if Elijah's built for that next level.
But one thing's for sure, wherever Elijah goes, the spotlight's going to follow. And speaking of high school hoops, you know what everybody should be using if they want to hoop like Elijah?
The official high school basketball of Texas, Louisiana, Washington, and several other states?
Yup, Boston Sports. Listen, if your state made that list, congratulations. If it didn't, well, you played yourself. Nah, but in all seriousness, whether you're in Hawaii, Wyoming, anywhere, if you want to stop airballing your threes and blaming the ball, go grab yourself a Boston.
That's facts. And make sure you guys are plugging in that promo code hoop_plug_ for a smooth 10% off.
And as always, guys, thanks for rocking with us. Put some flavor in your ear.